Hey guys, welcome to Joe's RC Corner. Today we're going to be back on the Cruzer. I just got back from my work trip, so we want to finish up getting everything wired up for the engine, get all my power set up. So we're going to go ahead and go to the time lapse and get this started. So stay tuned, guys. All right, guys, so like I mentioned, just came back from a work trip up to Alaska and visited Permafrost Beards along with some other, along with doing my regular work. So I wanted to go ahead and just kind of touch base, see what we got. Now, with the Cruzer, what we're going to be doing here on the Cricket is we're going to start working on finishing up the electrical system so that maybe, fingers crossed, the next video will be starting this engine. So right now, what I got to do is we got to finish up all the wiring to the batteries. My prop should be coming here soon, which will also include the cowl mount system from Viking engines, along with the battery mount that will go inside there to hold those batteries securely in place under the front skin here. Once we get all that done, and then we can start doing the wiring. Now, one thing that I did get taken care of while you guys were all, while I was away, is I did order a few extra parts. I'm not sure how many of you guys know about this one system called Stratix. Not Stratus, but Stratux with the X at the end. And the Grand Rapids EFIS system will actually take a serial connection from this and provide ADS-B information on the EFIS. And I can also use the Wi-Fi to get that information also to my iPad, iPhone, and anything else that's in the airplane. So that's going to be great. It has an AHRS system in it, magnetometer, and I did order a few extra parts. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around, let you guys take a look at this. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the Stratix box here. And it's basically a Raspberry Pi system. And the Raspberry Pi has a GPS, and I have an external GPS on this because it's going to go up on the glare shield. And then I'm going to be using a transponder antenna on the bottom of the airplane to receive the information from ADS-B information. So I bought this unit here. It's also designed specifically for the Stratix. And what this does is it combines the two the receiver end, the two receivers in here, the SDR radios, which is a software-defined radio system, and it will go into this unit, and this has a couple of SAW filters in it, and separates that one antenna into the two inputs to the antennas. And it actually works really good. I connected it in here in my garage, and I was able to pick up some ADS-Bs on the 1090 already. Now in the air, unfortunately, 978 is not going to work too well because the tower on 978 is not going to talk until something triggers it. And the ADS-B antennas or towers, the closest one is about 20 miles away at the airport. So in my garage, I'm not going to be able to pull that up. Plus with the antenna on the bottom of the airplane, that's not going to work too well. But I was getting the 1090 direct from other aircraft, which is great. So, and I do have an extension cable here that's going to pull, that's going to go to a BNC connector, which will then connect to that transponder. And that's just a standard transponder antenna 978 1090 transponder unit. Now, I did also include, I purchased the serial output. So now I have a transmit serial output here that I can now wire to my EFIS. So now I can go into the settings and set the baud rate and everything through here, through my iPhone, and then this will go out to the EFIS system, and then I can set up go through the settings on my Grand Rapids system and feed it the ADS-B and weather TISB information. So that's going to be great. That's going to work awesome. So that's all set up, and I'm going to set that to the side. Now, I am going to put heat shrink over this, and then we'll zip tie that in place. And I'm not sure whether I'm just going to turn it back like this with a little bit of a loop there, and then just tape it back down. GPS, again, like I said, that's going to get mounted up on the glare shield, and that'll provide me with GPS position, a backup AHRS system as well. So that's all going to be great for a backup unit using my iPad or iPhone to get that information. So the only thing I won't have is airspeed. Unfortunately, ForeFlight will not take airspeed, but it does give me pressure altitude, which is nice, and GPS altitude as well. So anyways, so that's all there. That's good to go. And I did have to order a big bag here of different types of terminals that I was running low on. I also bought another, bought a 15 amp to go for my pitot heat over here. So I'm going to replace that 7 amp with a 15 amp. I have all my other circuit breakers here. Now, anything that's not critical systems, I actually, one of two things. So I have two options that I purchased for this. Either I'm going to put this in the panel. It's just a fuse, a panel-mounted fuse system here for the glass fuses. I bought a whole bunch of different sizes, and I also, just in case I decide to do it this way, I haven't really decided yet. I also bought a four-port fuse. So, and that's for blade fuses, which I could use for the few items that I'm not concerned about losing. So, and those items are my dome light. So the dome light, I'm not worried about losing. It's not a critical system. So I'm going to put that on a fuse because that's going to be up there. And the other thing that I'm also going to put on a fuse is going to be my heater. The heater motors, I'm not too concerned about whether or not I lose that during flight, but everything else is going to be protected. The other item that I purchased is a 30 amp fuse here that's going to connect my power to segregate the engine from everything else that's going to be receiving power on this airplane. And I do have two of these 30 amps. And I'm not sure, that way I have a spare, number one. But number two, so everything is from the engine power is going to go into this. This is now going to be my output for everything electrical. That's going to then go into my circuit breakers. Now I bought 3 copper blocks, so that way I can run one wire to all my circuit breakers, and then from the circuit breakers they're going to go to each individual switch here, and then from the switch to the items. So as you can see, avionics, basically all of these items here, the EFIS, the ARINC, the Garmin 175, my COM, and my transponder, all of these are going to go through this avionics switch here, which is a 35 amp breaker as well. So that will cover all of these if something happens. So that'll be my main avionics switch. That is also a breaker. It's a switchable breaker. Everything else is just going to go through regular switches here. So you have your, these will be just through that one switch. All of these will now go through these switches. So you got your nav lights, that'll go here, strobe light, that'll go here, wig wag, which is down, and then the strobe, I already mentioned that one, landing light is up. So on this one, it's a 3-position switch here. So I have landing, off, wig wag. All right, so, and that is going to be going through my, may not be in this box over here, but it's basically a wig-wag controller. But those units, all these things are going to be more of a critical setup, so that's why these are all circuit breakered. So that way if they pop, I can go ahead and reset them if I have to, but that will take care of that. And then the fused ones, I'm thinking about just putting them off around here on the side. I'm also going to be putting the heater over here since, you know, I live in the desert. Not always going to need it, but I want to be able to reach it. But from here, I can reach that. So that's not a problem. And the fuse is going to be right next to it. The other item will be, so that'd be the heater. The dome light switch, I'm thinking about probably putting it in the same spot right next to it with, again, another fuse. And I just got to decide if I'm going to use the glass fuses for that, or if I'm going to go ahead and use this 4-port behind the panel. And these I don't have to get to during flight because these aren't critical systems. So if I put this behind the panel and I don't have to get to it, I don't have to get to it. You know, so dome light and heater, if I lose that, I can still fly safely with no problem. So I might do that. I'm not sure. It's going to depend on how much space I'm going to want to take in there. So other than that, that's everything we got here. And like I said, bought a whole bunch more of the aircraft spruce terminals here. So I needed some new ones. I needed more, actually. Was running low on some of them. So we got more. So we're going to refill that and get that all taken care of. So we're going to go ahead and get this all cleaned up. Oh, also, high temperature loom tube, fire retardant loom tube here. So that'll work for the inside the avionics bay. Or I'm sorry, behind the engine on the firewall side. So there we go. That's what we got going on, guys. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I got to open up my front forward skin so I can get back inside there and finish getting everything wired. Then once we get that all done, we get everything wired and everything is working, then we can go ahead and start working on maybe getting things prepped for starting that engine. Then once we get that part done, we're going to go ahead and move forward and maybe start wiring up some of the avionics in there in the next couple of videos. I will be getting my engine spacer or my block for the main gear, for the nose gear. I do have the spacer already, and I bought the bolts that I needed because I messed up and have bigger bolts in there, but that's neither here nor there. So I'll have to drill out the block and put that spacer in there. But I want to paint that spacer first so it matches. And then once I decide that, I'm going to decide whether I'm going to paint this too, which is the radiator. And once we know whether I'm going to paint that, then I can pull all of that apart, get that painted, get the nose block painted. And let me see, there were a few things. Oh, and the brake covers for the brake line on the back, I'm going to get those painted. So that way I can tidy that up and finish it there. And I think that would be about it for that portion of it. Then we can start getting some fluids in here and getting that ready to start. Prop should be here in a couple of weeks. Along with the battery mount and the cowl mounts. And I think I might actually start working on that soon too. So that way that whole front section will be done, engine, and then I can start working on the door, getting the windshield all taken care of, get that mounted, get these windows mounted, finish wiring up my antennas when I do the wiring. I got to make a mount for my ELT behind the panel or behind the back there. Get that done. Then we can push the airplane out a little bit and I can get the horizontal stabilizer on, get it mounted, get it level, and then take that back off once the bolts or the holes are screwed out or drilled out. Get that painted and primed and painted as well in the olive drab. And then the fuselage is ready to move out of here and get out. So I'm thinking about another couple months, and this is going to be out of here and out at the airport. That way I can start building that wing in here. And the wings I'm hoping should go fairly quickly. Hopefully by December, wings will be mounted out at the airport. And January, February, we'll be doing our finals, getting ready for the inspection. So, man, I can't believe this is moving so fast. But, man, guys, this kit is really nice. Zenith did a wonderful job getting everything kind of lined up and to go together pretty quick and easy. So I'm looking forward to getting this done and getting her in the air. So let me get a wide shot here for you guys. So yeah, so this is going to be great, guys. I'm looking forward to getting her ready. So let's go ahead and continue working, and we'll open up this front panel and get in there. So let's get to work, guys. Hey guys, so welcome back to the video, and I know you've been watching the time lapse, but we're going to go ahead and just take a break here, and we're going to finish up for today's video. This weekend I'm hoping to get a little bit more done on this after, because I got to go back to work tomorrow. So hopefully this weekend we get a little bit more done, and then we can start going ahead and maybe getting the oil and everything taken care of inside the engine. Because pretty much everything is wired up for the engine now. I even have the heater core in, so we're going to turn around the camera and take a quick peek and see what we got done. Okay guys, so like I said, so we got a lot done here today. I'm still waiting on my bracket to get those batteries mounted in place there. I think that location is going to work out really nice. If not, then we're going to have to rethink the wiring and everything, and if we have to, move them to the back. But I don't think we're going to have to move them back there. I think we're going to be just fine here, because almost all the other Viking aircraft with the 130 in it, the batteries are pretty much right there. So we should be fine and ready to go there. But let's go ahead and let's scroll around and take a look. So one of the things, I finished getting my ground bus in place here. It's now bolted down. And of course we got our grounding straps going to the airframe, and then from the airframe, grounding strap over to the engine. Like I mentioned before, we do have the gearbox oil is here, the coolant is down there, and now we do have a mess of wires down here still. We're still working here, but let's go ahead and take a peek down under here. So looking up from underneath, as you can see, we have, see if we can get this to focus in there. Okay, so as you can see under here, I'm not sure how well the light in it will be, but we got the relay is for the starter is right here, and I did have to extend the yellow wire here, which is goes to the starter up on the terminal block. So that's power coming in. It'll be from the starter switch here, I believe. Oh no, I'm sorry, that goes to the ECU. So this comes down to the terminal block, goes to the ECU up on the terminal block up on top up there, which is going through a grommet right here with all my other wires. And then we have the ground will then go through another grommet over here, and then go ahead and connect to the grounding bus. Like I said, I've got the grounding straps here. Both go to the negative and down to the negative there. Then we also have down here the negative for the contactors for the two masters. Those are going right here, and we do have to tidy these up, of course. Right now, still working on this. And then we got, that's pretty much it for here. Like I said, waiting on the grounding blocks that I'm going to connect the lines across. I do have something that connects them for the rows, but now I need, or for the columns, but not for the rows yet. So I need to get these now across here, and then we can run the wires up to the switches from that. And as we know here, this is the panel for the switches. So we got our two masters, got the start, got my avionics breaker master. I got my fuel 1, fuel 1, fuel 2, alternator, pitot, nav, strobe, landing, wig-wag. And this is a 2-position switch. All right. And then we have all our breakers. So you got your 25 amp for your starter, 5 for fuel pump, 5 for the alternator, 3 for my EIS based on Grand Rapids. The EFIS is a 5 amp, the ARINC for the Garmin is 3, 5 amp for the 175, 5 amp for the Macom, 3 amp for my transponder, 2 for nav, strobe is 2, landing light is 7, wig-wag is 7, pitot is 20, because that's pitot heat. So and my pitot heat switch is up here. Okay. All right, so moving around. Okay, so we do have the nipples in place here for the heater core, and those have been thread sealant, has been used to make sure that these don't leak. Then that hose comes up and along here and runs along the side over here, and then comes up and around and into the heater core right here, just as Jan mentions. So that is the grommet basically for the nipple coming out of the heater core. And I have an aluminum strap here that's riveted up here and bolted down here so I can remove this. And then I also have another bolt over here riveted to my avionics tray. And yeah, this is not going anywhere, guys. All right, and then it comes out on that side over there, comes up and around and goes down into that one here, that nipple there. Okay, so there's my heater core. That's been taken care of. Now I have not done the wiring yet on that, so that's right here still. Still got to work that out. That hasn't been done. So now looking at the positive side of the system. So of course the two contactors are here. They're connected to the batteries, and then they're joined together with a loop here. So they're now running in parallel. We do have the diodes up here. And then we have the output on 6 gauge here, and this is 6 gauge as well, going up to the pass-through, and then from the pass-through, of course, down to the starter and alternator and so on. But then we have a line coming off right here from the solenoid, or from the this contactor, and that goes to a 30 amp circuit, 30 amp fuse. And then from that fuse, it comes up to the bus here. And this is going to be my airframe bus. So all my avionics, lights, heater, or, you know, everything that has nothing to do with the engine is going to go here. And now it's protected. The engine is now protected from this bus with that 30 amp fuse. All right. And then we got from here, we have now a 6 gauge. Oh, I'm sorry, a 8 gauge, which now comes from the from the contactor, and then that goes around and over to this power bus. Now this bus will have the ECU, the 2 ECU power lines will be going to the to this bus here. The only other thing that might be pulled off of this is either my EIS or and also a 12 volt for my TAC, which will go over to this terminal over here. So we have the terminal, or the contactor switch is right here, going to the terminal block, then down, and of course down through the grommet, and then goes down to the switches down there. All right, and then we have the starter. This is the starter coming from the relay. And this goes to the ECU, and the yellow-black one is the alternator from the ECU. And let's see down here, and I haven't wired any of the rest of those up here back in this area, so we need to get all that taken care of still. So really that's about all we got so far, but really happy. Got the heater core in. My ECU is down under there. So this layout is working out pretty nicely, and I'm pretty happy with the heater core setup. So now, at least in the winter here in New Mexico, when it gets cold out, I'll at least have some heat. I believe my switch is going to end up going on the passenger side over here. So once I know where my throttle point is going to be, then I can wire up that fan. And I'm thinking it's probably going to end up being up here, up out of the way. Don't need it all the time, but I do want to be able to turn it on and off. So there's the setup so far. So now from this point, I need to start going one step at a time from the terminals and from the buses here. So we're getting close, and pretty soon we'll be able to fill up the header tank, because I don't have that installed yet back there, but we're going to fill up the header tank, set it aside somewhere maybe on a stool, and then run the fuel to that, and then we can get the fuel pumps wired up and see if we can't get this puppy to purr. So maybe next weekend, we'll see. I don't have any of the sensors. I have the sensors installed here, but I don't have any of the wires routed for that yet. I don't have the throttle hooked up yet, so I'll have to run the throttle manually over here like this. for right now. So that'll be the idle. We'll got, and the oil that I got, just, I mean, for the first time, I'm going to also change out the oil in the, we're going to change out the oil in the gearbox. So I bought some of that synthetic gear oil, 7590. So we're going to use that. Probably doesn't need this stuff, but we're going to use it anyway. And then we also got the Royal Purple OW20 for the engine. And of course, just went ahead and bought a new oil filter as well. I'm pretty sure the oil filter on the engine right now is probably fine. It's straight from the factory, but we may swap that out, make sure everything is cleaned out, get the oil or get the coolant in the engine here as well. Make sure there's no leaks. I do have to put a shroud over this the alternator cable here. And we'll get that one wired up. And we got the engine already, starter's already hooked up there. So yeah, we're getting there little bit by little bit, guys. All right, guys, so I just want to go ahead and finish up the video here. As I mentioned, we got a lot done today. I'm looking forward to getting the engine running, so we're going to work on finishing up all the wiring for the switches and all the circuit breakers later on. I did get in the mail just now the copper bars that I'm going to connect my positive side of my breakers. So we're going to get these. This is going to be the line to connect all the breakers, and that will then get connected to the power bus for the engine, and then the avionics and everything else as well. So we're going to get that all taken care of next weekend. We'll get these cut to length, get them drilled, and get it mounted on the circuit breakers. And once that's done, then we can finish up wiring all the switches. Once all the switches are then wired to the circuit breakers, we then connect those to the terminals that will turn things on and off. And yeah, we're getting close, guys. Pretty soon the key to the aircraft is actually going to turn this baby over, so we're looking forward to that. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that bell for the notifications, make sure you check out Permafrost Beards down below. Great products at great prices, all handmade up in Fairbanks, Alaska, so make sure you check him out. And that's all we got, so keep building and keep flying, guys. See you next time. Bye now.